Okay, folks, Street Jew coming at you live. The Band-Aid comes off, the truth comes out. Now, here's a nice article in Israel National News saying that Bnei Brak leading the war on infiltration. Go Bnei Brak! For those of you who don't know, Bnei Brak is a Haredi enclave. I just love to use the buzzwords of the media. A Haredi-based enclave. That is literally right next door to Petah Tikva, the Tel Aviv area. Okay, so illegal immigrants have caused a sharp spike in brutal crime, but Bnei Brak strikes back despite government inaction, demolishing den. You go, boys. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants continue to cause a spike in crime in various areas of Israel, particularly in southern Tel Aviv. But the nearby, largely Haredi city of Bnei Brak appears to be leading the crackdown against the worrying phenomenon. See, this is why the globalists hate us, and I got to step aside from this article for a second. This is happening worldwide. It's happening in the States. People flooding in from the southern border. It's interesting they're using the southern border here as well. People flooding in like Sudanese. Who are these people? Now, of course, the Ethiopians, Jews, no doubt. I mean, they come from the Queen of Sheba and all that other stuff. You can look at the history there. But there are people flooding in, tens of thousands, into our country because the globalist idea is to break down countries. They don't want countries. And eventually, they're going to come after Israel and the God of Israel because that's, ultimately who they want to fight against. And Jews represent, the chosen people, God himself, and these world powers, they can't stand that. So right now what they're doing around the world is they're flooding everywhere. Of course, Europe as well. They're really getting to the level of their domination. I mean, the gloves are coming off. Everyone, thought they would laugh when you heard New World Order, and you could go on YouTube after you watch this video and the others on my channel. Thank you for watching them. You can go on YouTube and type in like world leaders calling for New World Order, and you can see leader after leader after leader after leader, use these words. And it's now, in order for them to crack the nation states, they need to move populations. The Assyrians did this, even Joseph did this in Egypt when after the food was gone, he moved people from different city to different city so they couldn't claim ownership anymore to the land. So this is this play goes way back in the playbook. It's like one of the first pages in the globalist playbook is flooding nations with illegals and people who don't belong here. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, in recent days, the Bnei Brak municipality demolished a building on Bialik Street in the coastal city's Pardes Katz neighborhood after it became clear that the building was being illegally used as a refuge for large numbers of infiltrators. Several years ago, masses of infiltrators, mostly from Eritrea and Sudan, arrived in the Bnei Brak neighborhood from the central station area of southern Tel Aviv. At the time, the municipality turned to senior members of the Internal Security Ministry, but they were told that the infiltrators would only be removed after complaints of criminal acts were submitted against them. In other words, now listen to this, in other words, the government was waiting for a crime wave in order to act. Now this is another globalist plan that they do, and they do it up here where I live, up in Samaria. The only reason that the army is up here now is because Jews got killed. They don't ever do anything preemptively. They always react. And even that being said, it's not a good thing that they're here. It's not a good thing the army comes in and moves that police state forward and forward and forward and forward. They're using the misplaced Jordanians up here where I live as a way to control the Jews because of these misplaced people. And then it's like a problem reaction solution, a Hegelian dialectic, where they're creating the problem by letting these people be here. And then, of course, the public reacts. And in our case, the military, because this is a military area, the military comes in. And Bnei Brak, of course, thank God the Haredi Act, because they understand that they must. Okay, in response to the Bnei Brak municipality said it would crack down on those illegally dividing up and renting studio apartments to illegal immigrants because they chop the apartments up. Avram Tenenbaum, municipality secretary and spokesperson, said that the first stages of the crackdown, dozens of legal files have been prepared against the renters, and likewise municipal policing patrols have greatly increased. So that's good to hear. We discovered that in one building, 6 housing units on the ground floor and 4 units on the first floor were divided into separate housing units for these infiltrators, said Tannenbaum. In actions at the court, high monetary fines were imposed upon those dividing up the apartments and for the building irregularities in these apartments. And likewise, closure orders were issued against illegal cafes, noisy game rooms, and pirate businesses lacking licenses. Statistics from last August suggest that the infiltration in Israel is on the rise again. Brutal crime committed by illegal immigrants has tragically become a common occurrence, particularly in southern Tel Aviv, where a large concentration of infiltrators live. However, the horrific crimes have been largely gone without condemnation by leftist rights groups and women's groups or the Supreme Court, which has repeatedly struck down legislation aiming to deport the infiltrators. This is another part of the globalist cabal, okay? The left-wing right groups, they're only doing that to, pull people off land, promote Agenda 21, and all other different programs which they're using. I mean, the globalists know that the radical Islamicists are really the best way to get their agenda finalized. They understand that eventually, of course, they're using these Muslims like chumps, and eventually that'll be the end of them. But they're helping to move the agenda forward. So it seems like the globalists are very, smart. Not super smart, because then they'd ultimately know that God is going to come down here and open up a can on them, a can of whoopee on them. But they're very big in their ego, and they think that they're untouchable. But you're not. You're not globalists. You're not untouchable. And the people will rise up with pitchforks and with torches. I can assure you that it's going to happen. And I hope to see it happen in my lifetime. But it will happen. Your castles are not that secure. Your underground bunkers are not that secure. Just understand. There will be a day of reckoning. Now, the women's groups, of course, women's groups, women are getting raped all over Europe, and the same thing. They don't. They're saying now, it's your fault, women, because you didn't dress modestly or something. Which I believe in women dressing modestly, of course, being an observant Jew. But it's not their fault. A woman is, if she's not dressed modestly, she's not. Out of 10,000 Orthodox Jews, because I don't want to say no one. So, out of 10,000 Orthodox Jews, 9,999 are not going to touch a woman who's scantily clad, okay, in that way where, the average radical Arab would immediately, have his way. So, official statistics in Israel have revealed that an overwhelming majority of infiltrators are economic migrants and not refugees as claimed by leftist groups, an assessment that echoes findings of other Western countries. The leading southern Tel Aviv activist, May Golan, told Eretz Sheva in May that the state is not dealing with the problem after the government's decision to transfer 56 million shekels, nearly $14.5 million, in order to build kindergartens and preschools for the children of illegal immigrants. What? That's the first I heard of that. I'm going to have to try to reach out to this May Golan. Sounds like a good lady. But the government is agreeing to transfer 56 million shekels in order to build kindergartens and preschools for the children of these illegal immigrants. So as you can see, the government here of Israel is part of this globalist cabal. The people that run this country are traitors to the Jewish people. And yeah, I'm going to have to call, if it's related to education and kindergartens and preschools, you know I'm calling you out, Naftali Bennett. I'm calling you out straight up that you are just a total liar, total infiltrator of God-fearing Jews with that little latka you wear on your head. I mean, his yarmulke is like this big, okay? So take off the latka, okay? And pray 5 times a day, Naftali. Okay? Face Mecca. Like you do with all your friends. And just, admit the truth to us. We don't mind. You can be in the coalition with Zahabi and Tibi. You'll probably get voted in. Or join Meretz. I'm sure Zahava has a seat for you right there, right next to her. You could be number 2. I know you probably want to be number 1, but, just admit who you are. Globalist infiltrator. We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore, folks. We're going to stand up. We're going to fight this info war, this Jewish info war. Okay? Because I've learned, I've studied, and I know what's going on. I know the deal, and I'm gonna expose this for what it is. So with God's help, we'll get the message out, and in Hebrew as well. Please, God.